We are going to study about the normal aging. The normal aging, how it will be affect other organs, how it having impact on the functions and the morphological and physical and anatomical effect on other organs, the whole system, all body of human being. It is a human-dependent progressive decline in organ function, resulting in increase in susceptibility to the disease. It is associated with genetic, epigenetic, and metabolic alterations. For genetic, the genetic include telomere shortening. What is a telomere? The telomere are repetitive DNA sequences located at the end of chromosomes in eukaryotic cells. They act as a protective tabs or tips on the DNA, preventing the ends from becoming frayed or damaged during surgery. And the telomeres play a role in regulating the cell cycle and associated with the aging with the development of cancer. And it's just like a candle. The candle is burning. With the time, it becomes shorter and shorter. Same like that. As much cell cycle in the telomere will be caught to as much deviance, it will become shorter and shorter, and it will decrease the age. It will increase the age and decrease the time of cell to be alive. As the telomere will become short, the cell is moving and going forward for the death. It's just like that. And second, we have everything epigenetic. Epigenetic in DNA methylation. And in that, the methyl group is added to cytosine base. You guys know the methyl group is CH3, and it's added to cytosine base of DNA. And primary at CpG site. And this modification can alter gene expression by either silencing or enhancing gene activity. It's the key mechanism for regulating the driven tissue differentiation and other biological processes. But main impact on gene expression is that methylation can inhibit the gene expression by recreating proteins that block the transcription or by attenuating the formatting structure. Basically, it will inhibit the gene expressions. Second, we're having the metabolic alternations. They refer to change in body chemical processes, particularly those involved in energy production and macronutrient processing and then its synthesis of essential molecules. These alternations can be caused by various factors, including inherited genetic mutation, disease, and environmental factors. And in that, you also have an example of mitochondrial dysfunction like that. But normally, the metabolism is a complex system of chemical reaction that break down food for energy and build up molecules needed for growth and repair. First, we are going towards our first system, cardiovascular. And that they were decreasing arterial compliance. The arterial compliance mean stiffness and decrease in arterial compliance when the stiffness is going to it, the arteries become harder, becoming harder. The wall of artery become more harder to deposition different fibers. As seeking the aortic diameter is going to increase, then left ventricular cavity size is going to decrease. Don't forget, cavity size is going to decrease of the ventricle, but the atrial cavity size is going to increase. Ventricular will be decreased, and the cavity size of atria will be increased. Why? Because the interventricular receptor will be having a sigmoid shape and it will be myocardial hypertrophy. For example, this is a ventricle and there will be hypertrophy, and due to it, the cavity will be decreased. But when the cavity will be decreased, there will be backflow of the blood and the atrial cavity will be increased. And the aortic and mitral valve calcification is there, and they will be decreasing maximum heart rate. And if I summarize all the effect, the main thing are that it will increase the cavity size of atria and decrease the cavity size of ventricle, and it decreases the maximum heart rate. It decreases the maximum heart rate and technique in calcification of aorta. Medical complications can be decrease in exercise capacity and systolic hypertension. Now we are moving to our next system, gastrointestinal, and the gastrointestinal decreasing dual esophageal separator, a decrease in gastromucosal protection, high chances of ulcers, and decrease in chronic mortality. For that we gave agonist for mortalin to increase the mortality of the colon or the intestine, and for the protection there decrease protection from the acids and the low esophageal sprinter to decreases the high chance of regurgitation. So if we summarize that on the thing, then there will be increasing gastric acid reflux due to decrease in aldosterone, decreasing chronic mortality and medical complication of gastroesophageal reflux diseases and chronic constipation, because mortality is decreases to the high chances of constipation. Now we are moving to hematopoietic system. In the hematopoietic system, the bone marrow will be decreased and increasing bone marrow fat. If you guys know, the bone marrow have two types of pulp, like the red pulp and yellow pulp. The red, which is refer to formation of RBC in the blood cells, and the yellow had fact. In younger children's, the yellow pulp is very less and the fat quantity is less as the age is increasing. How the time is passed in the human being, the constitution, the quantity of the yellow bone marrow fat will be increased, due to which there will decrease in production of IVC and all the things, and bone marrow fat will be decreased. It will be less work gets response to stressor. Less work gets response to stressor can mean that the body's stress response the weaken or less intense, potentially leading to reduced capacity for reliance and adaptations. This can manifest in various ways, including a delayed or diminished physiological response to stressors, decreased heart rate variability, and increased vulnerability to negative heart outcomes. And now we are moving to the immune system. In immune system, predominant effect on adaptive immunity, in which they were decreasing NEET B cells and T cells and preserve memory B cells and T cells. Immunosense impairs response to new antigens, like it will not give a good response to the new antigens and new bacteria and pathogens that will be can infect the body. What do you mean by immunosense? In simple word, the immunosense means the aging of immune system. It's a state of dysregulated immune infection that contribute to increase the susceptibility of the elderly to infection and possibility to autoimmune disease and cancers. And if we summarize, there will be decrease in B and T cells in the immune system. There will be decrease in B and T cell. Secondly, medical complication, there will be increase in respiratory and nosocomial infection, malignancy and autoimmune condition due to immunosense aging of immune system. Then we have musculoskeletal system, musculoskeletal decrease in muscle mass, that is sarcopenia. The sarcopenia made age-related muscle loss. Age-related muscle loss. In second decrease, one osteopenia decrease in bone mass. Age due to aging, it is called osteopenia. And they also have the joint cartilage thinning. And basically, again, I'm saying there will be decrease in muscle mass called sarcopenia. There will be increase in bone mineral loss. So due to which the medical complication, risk of falls and risk of fracture will be increased. And there will be in joints like that. Now we are moved to a nervous system. The nervous system will have a decrease in brain volume neural loss, decrease in cerebral blood flow, functionally preserved despite mild cognitive decline. The cognitive mean intellectual activities. The intellectual activities will be decreased in that person due to different effects, and that is like that. You are reading, you are interacting with the paper, etc. And that will be obvious for the brain and volume loss. If we summarize the nervous system, then there will be decreasing brain volume, cerebral blood flow due to high risk of ischemia, function is preserved. It will respond to normal functioning, but it's a he or she will not more active as she was, okay? And there are also there will be sensory lobes, ocular. There will be defects in the hardening of ocular lens. There will be deterioration of auditory pathway. They will inventing what is important regarding the ophthalmology. The presbyopia. Hard to see the near object. There will be near object unable to see clearly. This is called presbyopia. That is normal in aging. If the special senses appear, augmentation, presbyopia, decrease in hearing, that is called presbycusis, and decrease in smell and taste, that is normal, and these senses will be decreased and impaired due to aging. If we talk about the skin, in the skin, there will be atrophy with the flattening of dermal epidermis junction, the junction between the epidermis and dermis. And this interferes between the epidermis outer skin layer, and the dermis inner skin layer. And it's a specialized region composed of the basement membrane, along with the portions of basal keratinocytes and superficial dermis. And second, they decrease in dermal collagen and decrease in elastin. Due to decrease in bronzes, there will be wrinkles and snarl purpura. It's important, the wrinkles due to decrease in elastin. There were decrease in sweat glands, thin called the heat stroke, and decrease in spatial tended quarter. They're also scuted. They're also scuted mean dry skin, xeroderma. And there are two types of chronological aging, funny, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic means chronological aging. Inside of your body, there will decrease the biosynthesis of chemistry of dermal fibroblasts, elastin, all the things that are maintaining your skin. And extrinsic means outer stimulus, like photoaging, creams, toxins, radiation that affect your skin and due to the degradation of dermal collagen and elastin from the sun exposure. Due to ultraviolet rate and degradation for death accumulate in the dermis like solar elastrosis. Solar elastrosis is also known actinic elastrosis, a skin condition caused by cumulative sun exposure, leading to damage of skin elastin tissues. And now we are moving to our next renal. What is happening with the renal? They will be decreased in GFR due to decrease in number of nephrons. There will decrease in renal blood flow and decrease in renal hormonal functions. Due to us, there will be polyuria or oligouria, or there can be ischemic state due to decrease in renal blood flow, and they also avoiding dysfunction due to muscle weakness, and it will be urinary incontinence. Now talking about reproductive, the males there will be testicular atrophy, which they will decrease in spermatogenesis, and prostate will enlarge, mostly will talk about BPH, and slower erection and ejaculation. The older male will take time for erect or ejaculate, and they're having a long refractory period. The refractory period are a period in which one stimulus will be only working at first stimulus you give me, like you are touching on my hand, that my brain will take, that you are hitting me, I am on the court, will not and can be detected by my brain. In that effective period, it's a period in which the other stimuli will be neglected by the brain. And these are seen that effective period also having after the orgasm. It's a period of time during which a person is not sexually responsive and can't have another orgasm. And this thing will be increasing on the person. Like if someone doing the sex first time, he will be ready to doing same thing earlier in the young person within 5 hours. Okay, that's true second time again, but for the order vision, this period will be increased maybe hours or days like that. The let's pronounce in decreasing libido as compared to females, and females for vaginal atrophy, vaginal shortening, thinning, and dryness. That causes an infection and there will be increase in pH due to which a high risk of UTI in older females. And due to decreased in estrogen from exhaustion of ovarian follicle, the monopoles, that can cause osteoporosis due to decrease in estrogen. It's a respiratory. In respiratory, there's increasing lung compliance. What is a lung compliance? The lung compliance are so-called pulmonary compliance. It's a measure of a lung ability to stretch and expand. In clinical package, it is separated into two different measurements, static compliance and dynamic compliance. The static lung compliance is a change in the volume for any given applied pressure. Basically, compliance. It just you guys remember is the ability of lungs to stretch and expand. And due to which, if the lung expands, will be increased and there will decrease elastic recoil and there will decrease in chest wall compliance. So there will be increase in stiffness of chest and there will decrease in respiratory muscle strength because the patient become older, and there will be decrease in FEV1, FVC, HIV and TLC unchanged. What is FEV and FVC? The FEV is a forced expiratory of volume in 1 second. It means amount of air forcefully exhaled in the first second, while VFC is a forced vital capacity. It is a total amount of air forcefully exhaled after a full breath. It is regarding the first second, it is not having any time limit, it is having 1 second time. And what is the V is the residual volume. When both of that volume and capacity will be decreasing, then residual volume will be increased because the person unable to exhale all the air, push all the air out, very difficultly. It is not pushing air out. It is to residual volume is going to increase. Residual volume will be increased, but the total lung capacity is unchanged. A creatine, what is A creatine? The A creatine is also called alveolar arterial creatine. It's a measure of difference between the oxygen concentration in alveoli and the arterial blood. And it will be increases. There will be a high volume with a high concentration of the oxygen in the alveoli, but decrease in concentration of oxygen arterial blood to decrease in extension due to aging effect. There will decrease in exchanging of the gases due to fibrosis of alveoli, decrease in number of alveoli due to increase in anatomical space, like dead space will increase in dead space, then dead space means that did not participate in ventilation. Ventilation, exchange of gases, that is got a dead space in lungs. And VQ mismatch will be increased. What is the VQ? The VQ is a straight in the lungs with the amount of air reaching the alveoli, means the ventilation. Visa ventilation. The air reaching the alveoli is not properly matched with the amount of blood flowing to the capillaries around the alveoli. That is got perfusing. Q for the perfusing. There will be ventilation perfusing mismatch. How much the quantity of air is coming to alveoli is not perfused, is not going to blood. So it will be increased. The VQ is actually increased. Ventilatory response to the hypoxia planted and there is a less risk of and slow mucus reclearance because the mucus reclearance is very slow to enable to push out to the mucus and unable to the damage of their filament in the cilia on the thing. Here one thing is not present, that is liver. Liver is a very also very important component, and aging having very deep effect on liver structure of its function, ability to handle the stress and toxin. The liver will shrink. The size of liver will be shrink, it become darker, and it experience decrease blood flow, and it decrease the bile production. If the anatomic, it will be shrink, it will be darker, it will be decrease in blood flow and decrease in bile production. These are structural changes. But if we talk about the functions, then they will be reducing metabolism, there will be slower repair. Like the liver capacity to repair damage and regenerate cells becomes slowed down. If we increase in vulnerability, aging can increase the liver's susceptibility to acute liver injury or development of fibrosis. If the change in liver cell like hepatocytes undergo changes, include lipofuscin, accumulation, volume, alternation, decrease, autophagy, mitochondrial dysfunction, mitochondria powerhouse of liver cells to also decline in number and function with their age. If will also go to fibrosis and cirrhosis due to risk of developing fibrosis due to increase in age, and this if the fibrosis and cirrhosis is happening due to age gain, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Disease can cause cirrhosis and fibrosis due to aging. Okay? If we want to summarize all the physiological changes, so we can mention here, like in CVS, we said there will decrease in maximum hydrate, and there will be thickening. There will be thickening as calcification of aorta. And due to it, there will be decrease in exercise capacity and systolic hypertension. If we talk about GIT, there will be increasing gastric inside reflex, and there will be decrease in chronic motility. Due to it, there will be GERD, gets-associated reflex disease, and chronic constipation. If you talk about urinary, there will be decrease in ability to concentrate the urine. Due to it, there will be increase in water loss, and they will be impaired emitting of bladder to age. The patient having urgency and increase in frequency of urination, the urinary tract infection, incontinence, and dehydration. If we talk about the immune, there will decrease in number of BS T cells. Due to it, there will be increase in respiratory and nosocomial infection. If we talk upon musculoskeletal, there will be decrease in muscle and bone mass, and it's got osteopenia and sarcopenia. And due to it is high risk of fracture, and if we talk about a skin integumentary fissure, then there will be skin atrophy and decrease in subdermal effect. Subdermal that will risk results in skin increase in skin fragility and skin wrinkling. We talk about the sensory endeavors, presbyopia, and secondly, it is impaired accommodation, and also loss of hearing, decreased hearing is gone. Presbycusis. Now, reproductive in male, testicular atrophy. And in female, there will be vagina shortening. Plus there is vagina atrophy and thinning. And thinning is increase in pH and dryness that cause and make it risk of UTI. And respiratory, there will be decreasing forced expiratory volume. 1 second decrease in forced volume capacity, increase in residual volume, and there is increase in alveolar exudate, and there's increasing ventilation and perfusion mismatch. It's all about the aging, and it's a normal. It is not having disease whenever a patient is coming, having the age of 70, 80, and coming to you having thickening and calcification of aorta, or a decrease in cavity height of ventricle, or decrease in heart rate, it's not in cardiovascular disease. It is normal aging. If someone is coming, we have an increase in GERD. It is not disease due to decrease in low esophageal printer tone. Like that is a normal aging you should have to know. Thank you.